On today's show, Max Strus hit a game winner. It's pretty great. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Cavs, your daily Cleveland Cavaliers podcast.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockdown to get started. I'm Chris Manning. That is Evan Dammarell. No Jake Stevens on production today because he's out of town for the night. And we had to get this one up because Max Strus.
Rocking a mustache.
What? Yeah, mine's lighter. Yours is naturally darker. I'm slightly jealous. Max Strus, 15 points in the fourth quarter, and a game-winning shot from beyond half court. I mean, this whole game was awesome. One of the more fun games, I think, of this entire season. We're going to get into the playoff feel of it in segment 2 and the Kyrie return and JB Bickerstaff making decisions that I think drove some people crazy. But Max Strus, in 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, didn't need a lot of time, but he was there for a good time. 5 minutes, 5 of 5 from 3, 15 points. Cavs are +9 when he comes back on the court, and he hits the game-winning shot. My goodness, what a moment, what a scene, what a win for the Cleveland Cavaliers, Evan Dammarell.
Yeah, that's my name. What a game is right. I think the fact that defense was more or less optional in this one kind of made it even more fun, but golly, you can't say enough about Max Strus. It's not just the fact, it's all encapsulated by that 60-foot game winner, 59 according to ESPN stats, which is the second longest in NBA history ever since the three-pointer was introduced in the 70s, which is crazy that he was, 4 feet short of breaking the NBA record. But it's the longest game winner in Cavs history. But that shot was obviously the exclamation point on the exclamation point on the exclamation point, because Max Strus just caught on fire in the last 2 minutes of this game. He was making hustle plays on defense, forcing Dallas turnovers, and then he was just hitting and bombing away from three-point range. He was just going unconscious. And I looked over at a friend of the program, Jackson Flickinger, who will be taking my stead tomorrow, actually, when you guys talk about the Bulls game. But I said, man, he's not missing. And then when he got the ball, I quietly said, he might make this. And then I just watched him heave it, and I'm like, that's going to go in. And then I saw it go in. I'm like, oh, wow. Also, Mikey McNuggets from the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show asked me post-game, he's like, is this the most wild game you've ever been to? I'm like, I still think the Donovan Mitchell 71-point game was just such an out-of-body experience because, he wasn't missing at all. But holy cow. Just have a night, Max Strus. This is the plays he made down the stretch and in those clutch moments are exactly why Cleveland brought him in, to just kind of be that starting three and also just the safety valve on the perimeter, or every so often a guy who can hit a 60-foot game winner.
This is why they signed him, and I think it's as simple as this to me. You look at the post-game interview. He's getting water poured on him. He is having everyone in the arena screaming and losing their minds and can't really believe what they saw.
Just got dogpiled after that, before that.
Pandemonium. And this guy is level. He is not too high. He is not too low. He is perfectly even, as all things should be.
He sneaks in a quip.
Yeah. Which, King, just love a smart, sassy King.
Because he said it again post-game. He's just like, yeah, since Donovan wasn't on the floor, somebody else had to take it.
Yeah, but just this guy does not get rattled. If you're thinking just about why the Cavs went and prioritized him in the first place in the offseason, why they did a sign-and-trade for him and paid him more than the mid-level, and why he is worth it, even if you can look at his numbers and be like, are we sure? Whatever. This is why. Because this guy does not get rattled. He does not get freaked out. He does not get overwhelmed. The Cavs, as a team, got overwhelmed in the playoffs last year. They just did. This game could have been a game where they're up by a lot. Luka's going off. Kyrie has 30. And you kind of felt the game switching to Dallas's way. And in large part because of Max Strus more than anyone else in this singular game, they didn't get rattled and they won. And it's because of him, and I think because, Evan, largely of the fact that that guy's unflappable. That guy is cold, he is calm, he is collected, and you can't really freak him out in any kind of circumstance. He just goes out there and does what he needs to do.
And I think that's just testament to Max Strus' story in general. I think he is, by and far, his biggest believer. He shared post-game that this is not the longest game winner I think he's made. He said he hit one in Division 2 that was a little bit longer, about 3/4 of the court. And just the fact that like that kind of like speaks or his testament to the fact that this is a guy who had to claw and work his way up the ranks and went from a UDFA who bounced around between the Chicago Bulls and the Skyforce and the Heat. Now Cleveland, not bounced around, but we went to Miami. He really made a name for himself. And in Cleveland, the legend of Max Strus, if you want to call it, that continues to grow and grow and grow. But ice cold is the best way to put it. But also just like he'll joke that he joked. I don't know if he was serious, but he did say like post game that he knew the shot was going in. JB Bickerstaff joked that it was all by design. Either way, like there's an unshakable faith the team has in a newcomer like Max, and I think, like you said, it's the fact that he is so stone cold and unflappable, but the fact that like it's sourced from pure raw confidence in himself and his game, like that really does truly make it unbreakable. Because the only person who can break it is Max Strus, and I don't see him breaking it anytime soon.
And I don't even, to me, it's like wondering if it's raw is like this feels like someone who has, to your point about he played D2 basketball and is now in the NBA. He played in Sioux Falls in South Dakota in the G League and had to grind his way to earning a spot with the Heat. He makes the finals.
Yeah, he's in the NBA finals. Like that's an incredible journey.
This guy has calluses on his hands. He worked, like he genuinely had to drag himself to get here. You only get to this point if you're Max Strus. The talent matters, the skill matters. This is a skilled, good basketball player. But you only get there if you have calluses and you have grinded
and you're yourself to put in that work.
Well, and on top of that, just the fact that you have actually like built mental toughness, and that is a skill. That is just, it is not something that I can pull up on dunks and threes, on cleaning the glass. Mental toughness is a skill. That's a tough SOB. I can't swear. I really want to say SOB in full right now. I can't.
He's a tough son of a female dog.
The fact that, and even just in the moment of that arena, Evan, the thing that struck me the most about it is before that, the Cavs frankly got hosed on a call. I'm going to ask you about the refs in segment 2 because they got hosed. Josh Green kind of tackles Darius Garland. They don't call it. Cavs then make a mistake and give Dallas an opportunity. Dallas takes the lead. The game felt, people left. This felt dead. And then the whole arena is just like, everyone's just like euphoric. It's insane
level of game, but it always like fans leaving the arena, people heading to their cars, thinking
don't leave games early. By the way, don't leave people just don't do that unless you have to take your kid to bed. Don't do it.
Makes me think of that Eastern Conference Final win where LeBron hits the shot over Rashard Lewis in the Orlando Magic, where people just like left, and then like just absolute pandemonium hits. Sometimes just the craziest stuff happens, and I think that's just what makes basketball so exciting. Is like Chris said, there is no tangible way to predict that, in the moment of moments, Max Strus is the most confident guy on the floor, taking a 60-foot pull-up three-pointer and just sinking it with cool, calm, and collection, and just not being fazed by it. And like as Chris said, had the wherewithal and the presence of mind to still sneak in a quip and joke in his post-game interview, because that's just a guy who is cool, calm, and collected. And more than that, we were talking about like the mental fortitude and toughness that he has. It's also, again, like that unshakable belief in himself, because there's so many people who didn't believe in Max Strus' entire career. But look, Max Strus has believed in himself every step of the way, and he hit a game winner in probably one of the biggest shots in modern Cavs history.
this will
Regular
go down
season
as
wise.
Yeah, I mean, there's a guy that we'll talk about later that hit the biggest shot that any Cavalier is ever going to hit, frankly. But this will go down as like one of the when you cut up the highlight reel of the season, when you cut up Max Strus' Cavs career, his
I
darn NBA career for crying out loud.
I wish we could sneak in Tim Alcorn's call on the shot, but him just losing his gourd completely is the best crystallization of it. Or if you went on the Mavs side of things on the TV broadcast, they were going, oh no, when he took the shot and then made it. So it's a good duality of it. Yeah, basketball's fun. And we can talk about the game by game stuff, because this was also kind of what you want from the Cavs offensively in terms of just taking threes and getting them the way they want. But this is just the biggest three you could get, clearly, like no doubt.
Claps to Max Strus, an absolute monster performance from him. One of the moments of the Cavs season. Salute to him, because there's all the flowers you can give him for that game, and that this is why you go get Max Strus. Not even just the game winner, but the composure, all of that. All right, after this, there was a whole other basketball game on top of this. We'll talk about Luka and how the Cavs defended him and everything that went into that game up next. Today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. BetterHelp, if you're looking to help yourself this year, if you're looking on making yourself a little bit better, they can help you. Sometimes we all need the opportunity to get something off of our chest. Big or small, certain things can really start to get you. It's important to let that out, especially to someone who's unbiased on your life. So today, I'm just going to tell you how I really feel about something. You might even be thinking about the same thing this week. And that's that Max Strus is worth every single dollar that the Cleveland Cavaliers gave him in free agency. He's pretty good. Worth it. That guy's awesome. And a rant. Therapy can be different for everyone. Most of us have bigger problems than our favorite sports team, and it's important to get things off your chest every once in a while. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be flexible and suited to your schedule. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Today's episode is also brought to you by Stitch Fix. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist who understands your style, size, and budget. They do all the shopping for you. It's the easiest way to update your wardrobe this season. Easily upgrade your wardrobe this year with a professional stylist that helps you find new on-trend favorites that will work for you. And give your stylist your size, style, and budget preferences. Order boxes when you want to and what you want. No subscription required. And you get 5 just for you pieces, plus outfit recommendations and pro styling advice. Stitch Fix makes it all so easy. Shopping isn't fun, and they save you time and effort. It's awesome. Plus, you get outfits that make you look good and feel really good, too. And if you don't love something, just send it back. Shipping, returns, and exchanges are always free. Style that makes you feel good as you look good. Get started today at stitchfix.com/lockedon. Okay. This game, Evan, was a playoff performance. Hit me.
Speaking of playoffs, one of my friends online posted a video of somebody sitting in the lower bowl of the Knicks game, watching the Max Strus game winner on his phone while the Knicks game is playing in front of him. So, real recognizes real. But yeah, this game, what a basketball game, wire to wire, really.
I mean, the way I look at it, Evan, in terms of where I thought this was going to go wrong for Cleveland, if you just look at what Kyrie and Luka did. Luka has 45, 14, and 9, and he had 1 turnover. I mean, that's just like that's just like any other night. We would have just been like, they got Luka
game, so good for Luka.
Yeah, but any other night we would have been like, the Cavs got Luka, and like sometimes that happens. I had that take just marinating in my head, and then you get Kyrie, who has 30. He's 12 of 24 from the field. He's 5 of 8 from 3. 3 assists, 3 turnovers, 6 boards. I thought was pretty good and gave the Cavs fits at some points in this game. You could have just had a game where they just kind of got outmoded by those two guys, but to survive out 75 combined points by those two guys and match them for scoring and beat them in scoring really on a night where your defense just didn't really have it and had some real trouble defending Dallas. That to me speaks really well about what this Cavs team is about. And it's an extension of a lot of different things. This isn't a new thing we just learned here, but this is the kind of performance that I do think validates some of the real positives I think that have been underlying on the surface here for Cleveland.
Yeah, I was actually Cleveland.com's Ethan Sands pointed this out. Kyrie, Luka, and then PJ Washington are the only three players that had double digits for Dallas in this game. Like Cleveland, obviously, it's hard to defend Luka Doncic. Like he is one of the best players in the world. I think there are nights where you just tip your cap and let him get his. And I think they had a good defensive strategy, at least, where they cranked up the defensive intensity on other players just to kind of make it harder and just more difficult for Dallas to beat Cleveland outside of the Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic show. And it just helps, obviously, that one, you have Max Strus go absolutely unconscious in the fourth quarter from the perimeter, finishing 7 to 10 from 3 in this game. But whenever the Mavericks seem to start to build some type of momentum, it constantly just felt like Donovan Mitchell would just go on the other end and get a quick bucket and just swing things back into the center of the court, and then maybe teetering towards Cleveland's favor momentum wise. And like that was just really interesting to me. That's something that really stood out. I mean, bench wise, like Isaac Okoro was a stud in this game. Like the fact that he is just taking 3-pointers with confidence is really encouraging. He had 9, 6, and 5 in this game against Dallas. Again, like it is no easy task defending Luka, but I think, there were times that the Cavs, Isaac included, made Luka work for it. I think Darius played some solid defense at times against Kyrie as well, because like that was a matchup the Mavericks were forcing. And then also you saw at the beginning of the game, the Cavs weren't like shying away from it either. They're like, all right, Darius, go ahead and take the assignment of the best point guard in Cavs franchise history, now playing for the Mavs, of course. But the Cavs had an effective strategy in this game to grind it out a little bit defensively. But again, they had the shooters, pun intended, with Max Strus, but also just like they had this best or second best player on the floor at some points in Donovan Mitchell as well. Like, yeah, Luka was outstanding individually, but there were moments I thought Mitchell outplayed Luka at times too. I
mean, Luka Mitchell had 31. He had 6 assists, 7 turnovers. That's the one real knock for him.
Yeah, that's a lump.
Is just the turnovers, whereas Luka just didn't turn the ball over and also scored more. Got to the line a little bit more as well. That's like the one separator, but Mitchell had a bunch of big shots. They just this is one of the first times, Evan, where I think it didn't come down to Mitchell to save them. He had 11 in the fourth, so he kind of did save them, but Strus kind of really did it
because the Cavs did not have a timeout after PJ Washington made seemingly the game-winning dunk, and then Max Strus heaved it, and we got the clip. Also, there's a clip that I'm noticing on the replay of it. You can see PJ Washington flexing up the floor after he makes that dunk, and the moment Strus' shot connects, you just see him slump, and I'm like, man, he is just getting flashbacks to his days in Charlotte. But
tough.
Yeah.
But Mitchell in the fourth, 11 points, 4-6 from the field, 2-2 from 3. He carries them to the thing, and then Strus is like the flamethrower. It's kind of those two guys that save them. I mean, and this kind of Evan had like a kind of one of those games where I think this you could tell me the Cavs, if they play Boston, if they play Milwaukee, play the Knicks, you're gonna get some kind of game like this where the other team has like big outputs and you just kind of have to survive it, get enough stops, and then get big performances from certain guys. I mean, because you didn't really get great performances in different spots in this game. Mobley was fine. All around pretty good. Had the 7 assists, but I think left some points on the board. Allen was super efficient, but not as dominant, I think, as we've seen. Garland, I just wasn't good. I mean, frankly, he had the 7 assists, but scoring-wise was just not good.
He was pressing.
Yeah. You didn't get... Dean Wade was like bad Dean Wade and ended up only playing 9 minutes. Like, it was kind of...
Careful.
Just... What?
You're going to get mad that George Niang had a good game and Dean Wade didn't, and nothing. I have a take on this later. We can talk about it. But.
Yeah. So I mean, but this game, if you told me that this game tells you why George Niang is more trusted than Dean Wade, more trusted than Dean Wade by JB Bickerstaff, I would tell you, because he's not he doesn't like Max Strus. He does not freak out. He just takes the shots as they come to him, and if he misses, he doesn't care. Yes, is he theoretically not as well rounded? Probably not. We kind of know what he is, but he's also not gonna be flappable. Like, he's not going to get overwhelmed by a big moment.
I mean, people get their word in a bunch over Karis LeVert and George Niang when they were struggling at times, and they're like, why doesn't JB play Dean Wade or Sam Merrill? And one, like you said, like, you have nights like these where LeVert has 11 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, only 2 turnovers to go with those 6 assists, and he was 5 of 10 from the floor, 1 of 3 from 3. Had some pretty like wild 3-point attempts, but was playing within the flow of the offense, and I think moving the ball really well, and that's what you want him to be. And then George Niang, like you said, he is unafraid to shoot from 3-point range. Yeah, you're making a pretty, I wouldn't say substantial, but a sizable defensive downgrade from going from Dean Wade to George Niang, but that was part of the offensive itinerary for Cleveland, was they were willing to sacrifice some of that, like, defensive soundness to give them a shot in the arm offensively, because like Max Strus isn't like a plus defender. Sure, he hustles and he plays really hard, but like there's going to be times where sometimes he gets hunted depending on the matchup. But you if you're the Cavs, one, you have faith in Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Isaac Okoro, I believe as well, to kind of round you out or like set the foundation defensively, and you find complementary pieces and pick and choose lineups to kind of mitigate the loss that you get defensively with guys like Niang or LeVert or even Strus out there at times. But it's that offensive upside that all three of those players provide that make it pretty clear, like, yeah, these are the 8 guys JP Bickerstaff's going to rock with come playoff time when they do an 8-man rotation. And also, like, that's why they're getting the heavy line shares of minutes most nights, because they want to get as much time on the floor together, because, Darius Garland and Evan Mobley, who did struggle in this game, are a bit behind the 8 ball in terms of just finding comfort and familiarity in performance where the Cavs shot 43s. Like, obviously the biggest one is the Max Strus game winner, or the several that came before it, but it was just, this is a kind of, to me, like, watching it and breaking down the statistics, that like, this is the Cavs we saw pre-All-Star break, where they're playing faster, they're playing with a bit of purpose. It wasn't perfect, it's still work in progress, but we're seeing some of the sameness from pre-All-Star break, where it's a lot of 3-pointers, and you're seeing like the guys just kind of gel back into that role. And I think, credit where credit's due. JB will take a stab at Wade and Merrill for like those 9-minute bursts or so to see if they have it, but if they don't, you just keep leaning on the guys that have been getting you there to this point, which is, Niang, LeVert, Strus, Okoro, and the quote-unquote core 4.
One more thing about this game, but we'll get to that. And then Kyrie Irving in his return and jersey retirement for him. We'll talk about that after this. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply, and eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. So the last thing about this game before we get to Kyrie, Evan, is this was one of those games where as much as Karis LeVert was 5 of 10 and all of that, and had the 6 assists. The thing that made me most nervous for Cleveland down the stretch was him having to defend Kyrie Irving, and it would not shock it. Like, I understand Okoro played like a long stretch at one point, and maybe you just needed to get him a rest or whatever. The 3 guards thing in a playoff game, when that comes in April, whether it's Indiana round 1, the Heat, whomever, someone better in round 2. Karis LeVert is the 3rd guard, and like Strus not being on the floor or Okoro not being on the floor is absolutely gonna freak the Cavs out. I think it can't happen. I think in the game when it really matters.
He'll be the weakest link defensively in a very exploitable matchup, especially in half court offenses when things are moving much slower offensively. And yeah, to your point, like maybe JB is trying to afford some minutes to rest Isaac, especially like down the stretch in crunch time, or even when, I don't know, I'm trying to think of when Okoro subbed back in, but because he was a bit of the catalyst in that run the Cavs made down the stretch. But either way, yeah, like he's more of an exploitable matchup, and I think that's obviously just a coaching thing, and also just like staggering the minutes and just figuring out things that maybe do and don't work. And this is film you look at and say like, okay, yeah, we should shy away from the 3-guard lineup, especially when a team is very perimeter heavy, like in this case the Dallas Mavericks, or you mentioned the Indiana Pacers. That's certainly one. The Knicks, the Celtics, if the Cavs ran into them somehow. Yeah, those are teams.
I mean, conference finals. That's there. Like if you get there, that's there.
That's there. Like that's the tricky thing, and I think that's part of the learning and like ramping up to the postseason is kind of finalizing your rotations and your ideas. I think when the Cavs hit Game 75, there's only 7 regular season games left at that point, but that'll kind of be like the final analysis for Cleveland's coaching staff in terms of what does, what doesn't work. Maybe they kind of hold back from revealing their hand on some of the things that they really want to execute, or like just fine tune and crank up to like the umpteenth degree. And maybe that is more Isaac Okoro minutes over Karis LeVert at certain points. Like you still notice like Okoro is the first player off the bench for the Cavs most nights, and I think it is by design to stagger Garland's minutes a little bit more and also stagger him and Mitchell. But getting Okoro rolling is probably more important for Cleveland at this juncture than getting LeVert rolling, because it's a little easier to get LeVert rolling. But if you have Isaac who's riding a hot streak like this, it makes so much sense. But well, let's talk about Kyrie, who actually dropped a tweet as we were recording this.
That has never been a good thing anyone has said. Drop a tweet.
Well, he said, "It will always be love from me and my tribe, Cleveland, aka Believe Land. No one will ever be able to take away our banner we won together. All for one, one for all. What a time." Ring emoji, Chief Hela, I think is how he pronounces it, and then fingers crossed, feather, infinity, heart. So I don't know. The tribute video was nice. The feelings were nice. Clearly no bad blood at this point. It's been 7 years since he requested to be traded. Like, if you're still upset about it, you need to grow up and check your priorities in life.
Sure. This backtracks. One last thing about the game that you just said. If Darius Garland's playing better, maybe Karis LeVert's on the floor. Just keep an eye on that.
That's also fair.
Just that's facts. So Kyrie Irving. Donovan Mitchell gets asked about this at shoot around. He says he should have his jersey retired for sure because of the title. You can go find the quote pretty easily out there. Kyrie was talking to our Jackson Flickers, just getting free plugs all over here today. Was texting with him about something post game, and he said that Kyrie said he said like, why are you asking Donovan about this, and reaffirmed his love for Cleveland. Evan, this is like the one time where I have a hard time because of a lot of things with Kyrie separating things that he has done and said versus the guy. Like, I think a lot of people do have that issue, and I think that's a very real, fair thing. There's just, and I if people don't know, my jersey retirement take is that like we don't really need to retire jerseys. We can like hang them up in the rafters, and that's cool, and that's all we really need to do. But like, he's gonna get his jersey retired at some point. It's cool. It does feel right considering how things did end, and it was acrimonious. It's cool that like there is at least something here where it doesn't feel awkward, and we're like, all right, is he ever gonna play in front of these fans again? Like, this is in a better place where like it is a good thing when stars and their former stars that won big things together can be on good terms in some way and at least be like friendly exes. It seems like the Cavs are in the friendly exes stage with Kyrie now, and that's a good thing ultimately, I think.
Well, they're in that boat with a lot of former players at this point, whether it's JR, who clearly did not end things on good terms with the team at the time when he was sent home, but
no, he did not.
But now, like, he's shirtless at Browns games and sitting courtside shirtless, celebrating and hooting and hollering and cheering on the Cavs. Daniel Gibson's involved as an assistant coach of the Charge and has his own podcast and show with Rafa on the Cavs, like Audioverse, I think that's what they call it. There's that. Like, Anderson Varejão's involved with the teams. Adrunas Ilgauskas is back in the fold. I think Kyrie Irving just he's had nothing but good to say every time he's come back to Cleveland. Like, there's a time. I remember it was like during the COVID days, like Colin Sexton just like absolutely busted them and won the game. And it was actually the debut of the Harden, KD, Kyrie Nets, and Colin Sexton just spoiled it. And Kyrie was just like, he's like, man, I love it here. I love the fans. I have nothing but good things to remember and say. He's just like, I'm glad that they have a guy like Colin because Colin got hot. And he's like, there's nothing but you can do but smile because these fans are so excited. There's something exciting to enjoy.
And on the jersey with that too, I remember at the time when he got...
because they asked him, like, yeah, Colin's wearing old numbers. Like, who cares? Yeah,
I can't remember if that was the Sexton's rookie year, maybe, if he said that or not, but he at one point he did have the note of like, I don't want, like, it's a jersey number, like, let him be, and like that is right and fair and good. This just feels good.
The exact
feels good.
Go ahead, do what you want to do. You wanted to wear the number, let him wear the number. It doesn't matter. It's just a number. So
yeah, me and Kyrie agree on that. It's just a number. The only number, frankly, that I think I can't see anyone ever wearing again is 23.
Yeah. Oh no. No. Well, yeah. Unless like LeBron came back for like a one.
But that's it.
Thing, that'd be the only time the numbers like reissued. Actually, to expand on the quote a bit more, there's more. The history it's already captured, man. I was on one of the best teams in NBA history, in my opinion. I just accomplished something that was much bigger than ourselves. A feat that's we're one of no other teams. We're one of one in history. So for me, I think the biggest thing is giving that jersey to my dad. If that's where the number 2 legacy ends, then cool. Then I'm starting up a new one. No pressure for anyone else. So like, he signed off on it when he left Cleveland because he's worn 11 his entire career since then. So, which is the number he wore in college, or his dad wore because he wore 1 at Duke. But either way, to answer your question, we've talked about this at length, like jersey numbers, retirement. I'm of the stance that 2, 23, and 0 should definitely just no longer be in circulation going forward. And then like when Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, and LeBron James eventually end their careers, which is weird to think about because it could be coming soon for LeBron and maybe Kevin, maybe Kyrie too, who knows. But you have a ceremony and you honor the legacy of those players and what they did for winning the first championship in 50 years. Maybe LeBron will get the statues and everything else that come with it too, but I'm sure the Cavs will find a way to handle it. But at least taking it out of circulation is just like a nice thing to do, just because like those are significant figures in your franchise's history, and it should maybe be like in like a soccer or some football senses where like if a player chooses to wear that number, like you better have a darn good reason to be saying you're wanting to wear that number.
Yeah, it was a good moment with Kyrie when it just felt it wasn't. So much has happened, so much time has gone by since then that it's
been
feel
a decade. It's weird.
Yeah, it feels like time has healed a lot of the disgruntledness with that. I mean, I saw a couple of Kyrie jerseys in the arena.
I saw it.
Not as many as
a lot of Dallas and Cleveland ones. I saw it.
I saw an autographed Celtics one, which is the weirdest one that
actually. A young man was standing at center court to greet the players and was wearing a Celtics Kyrie jersey, and I'm like, huh, that's a choice.
That is a choice. But the Cavs, you know what they did?
They made a good choice signing Max Strus this summer.
Look at us on the same page. Look at us, Evan. Unbelievable. You stuck the darn landing. That's it for Lockdown Cavs for February 28th. I'll be back with Jackson Flickinger after Cavs Bulls. Max Strus hit a game-winning shot. I don't know. I'm going to have to take lots of ashwagandha to go to sleep tonight. We'll talk to you later.